Gege has teamed up with Yuji Iwasaki to collaborate on a new short manga called Jujutsukaisen Modulo. This is going to be like a spin-off / sequel to Jujutsu Kaisen. We got the image of Maru first a couple weeks ago before it dropped, and it was leaked that the other name was going to be Mojiro. I don't know if this is like the Japanese version of it or whatever it could be, but we're just going to go with the Viz Shonen Jump side of things when it comes to the translations. This story takes place in 2086, 68 years after the main story timeline in JJK, not counting any of the flashbacks that took place in around 2006. I first want to talk about the two new main characters, Yuka and Tsurugi Okotsu. Yuka, the younger sister, took up more after Yuta, and after the funeral service, she promised to be strong just like him. She's much more outwardly ambitious like Maki and is an expressive character. She wears her heart on her sleeve, but so far in this first chapter, she never comes off as too gimmicky or like it's too much during dialogue. We don't know exactly what her curse technique is. So far, she just uses martial arts and imbues her body in curse energy. Tsurugi, her older brother, was trained by Maki, and he is definitely a mix of Megami and Volume Zero Yuta. That's just kind of the vibe I get from him. But he's a kind person that wants to help people. He's a heavily restriction user. I don't believe he's 100% though, because it feels like he should be way stronger if that was the case. And this curse energy was said to be very weak. Yuka said he's always training and working out, and in one panel we see him even doing the barbell, sword strike workout that Zoro does in One Piece. As a brother-sister dynamic, I'm really enjoying the vibe they give off. They are both extremely competitive towards each other. They both want to be strong like their grandparents, and they want to protect each other. They do, however, argue and often bicker, almost like an overbearing level for siblings. But with a duo like this, you do need something or someone to balance this and kind of perfectly even out this relationship. Coming from another planet, we have Marulu Valvol Yolvori, or Maru for short. And he's just a really nice guy. Like literally, so far, that's all I can really say about him. Personality wise, he's just a nice alien. He's trying to learn what curse energy is, and his species are curious about what it's capable of, considering they have a similar power source. We see him trying to ask about what a curse user is while Yuki and Tsurugi are arguing and getting ignored until they both answer him. The most important thing about Maru is the fact that he has a twin brother. We don't have the name of the older brother, but he has red eyes. Maru has green hair and green eyes. Twin brothers in JJK yet again. I can only imagine how this one will go, but the name of the other alien species is called the Sumerians. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Him and his brother don't see eye to eye at all, and he wants to rekindle their relationship. And his technique is to seek balance and find the person who's an equal match for you. And if I had to guess, his ability just might be something like spatial balance with whoever he touches or something like that, because we know he doesn't technically have a quote-unquote curse technique. He just has powers we don't really have the information about just yet. Post Shinjuku Showdown, JJK World is more at ease due to Yuji and the cast taking out Sukuna and setting the new standard for future sorcerers. But of course, there are still some curse users and bad people lurking around from time to time. With that being said, the antagonist in this introduction is a guy who is kidnapping and trafficking kids. This guy by the end of this should be under the jail, hopefully. Something Gege has always been good at is making an antagonist or villain completely irredeemable, and not just telling you, but showing you how vile these people can be. Showing these kids in like plastic containers and treat them as if they're merchandise is, it's a bold move. Also, can be a precursor to just reminding us as to how dark something can really get. This guy is also the one that kidnaps Tsurugi and is the one that's telling him about the aliens and the alien invasion that is bound to happen at some point. And they're trying to start a war on par with Ryoma Sukuna's special grade incident, which is not only high speculation but also high praise for how strong these aliens are perceived, literally saying that they could be a pinnacle of strength. And I think that's mainly just based on the amount of aliens that are there. Tsurugi, of course, is like, this is some bullshit and just a tinfoil hat theory. I do find it interesting that there was a treaty enacted with the aliens at some point during this era, maybe before Tsurugi and Yuka were born. And basically this treaty can be violated based on cultural differences, it seems. The treaty is a little confusing, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's already been said that, some Japanese citizens have been abducted and that they are trying to accumulate curse energy, which sounds very similar to what Kenjaku was trying to create himself back during the Culling games and a little bit before Sukuna came out. I do appreciate Gege mentioning the key pivotal characters in JJK early in the first chapter, emphasizing how impactful their lives were in Japan. Some of them may be shown in like a very old age. Going over the fight with the trio versus this criminal, it actually looked pretty good. Gege's art really shined when it came to action panels, moving from one sequence to another. Just in general, it felt like Iwasaki was trying to combine their artwork with Gege's art style. I'm not familiar with Cypher Academy really at all, but I took some time to just look at some manga panels and like get a reference as to what Iwasaki's art looks like. And I mean, you know, it looks pretty good. I wouldn't say anything that stands out, but it looks like something, you know, a lot of people will be familiar with, we'll say. I thought it was freaking wild that Yuka forced a mini fight with Tsurugi right before they fought the villain. Like, I don't think I've really seen something like that in a while in a manga I've read. So the smidge of comedy is still in there. Both siblings are well versed in hand-to-hand combat, and the focus of this fight is to bypass this guy's barrier, which they do pretty easily after Tsurugi gets his cursed sword back, and a cursed tool called Honoyagi. The scabbard and guard of this sword generates sparks that are infused into the blade. He uses shadow style Bato sword drawing and burns the talisman form in the barrier and deactivates it. And Yuka finishes the dude off with a savage jaw strike biting twist. I'm not sure if Iwasaki will continue the art because I saw a post about Gege taking over chapter 2 and maybe other chapters in the future. But regardless, I like Iwasaki's direction with this era of JJK art wise, and I think they'll do a great job going forward. One of the big story elements as far as motivation for the main characters is the ring Yuta left behind. We know the ring drew out the complete power between Yuta and Rika. Maki's daughter or daughter-in-law took the ring from Yuka and gave it to Tsurugi as a demand from the Gojo clan because they deem him more deserving of it in that he's stronger. You know, Yuka wants this ring back and she wants to become strong enough so she can use it herself. There was a flashbacks for Tsurugi and it shows that Yuta gave Yuka the ring and he wanted one too because he's a kid. I mean, they want everything. But Maki told him that ring is for warding off danger and he doesn't need it because he's too strong. But after Maki died and Yuta died, that's when the clan decided to force the ring on Tsurugi, who didn't want it. After decades have passed, politics among the clans are back, and you see how and why with this generation. This is a weaker era from the Heian era and the original timeline. There is no Gojo, Yuji, or Sukuna, an overwhelming force that can negate things like this happening. After 68 years, things like this were bound to happen and history will repeat itself. I mean, look at the world we're in, for crying out loud. So he wants to use the ring temporarily to get stronger so he doesn't need it. And he'll give it back to Yuka and make them say, "You are Maki's grandson after all." The curse user, after being captured, still try to last ditch effort move and that he already has a buyer for his products. Maru removes that patch and he reveals his third eye and stops whatever the guy was going to do anyways. And I'm assuming he hit like a mind attack or maybe like an energy wave. And Tsurugi, after seeing this, thinks that he's an alien. Overall, I enjoyed this first chapter. I give it between a 7.5 or an 8. Next chapter, we are clearly going to learn even more about the Sumerians. My biggest and favorite takeaways is the current era we are in now and how different things are. It feels like the clans have taken control back in this era and there's been a big recession on sorcerers because of how relaxed times have become, which was the goal of saving Japan. But longevity wise, it's interesting how things kind of become a double-edged sword. Plus, sorcerers teaming up together on missions and becoming stronger together is what Gojo wanted, and it's influenced the higher ups of this future era, which is a great thing to see. A heavily restriction user viewed as a strong fighter by default is definitely something different, as that was never really the case in the original timeline. Most importantly, Maru's mission is definitely not going to go smoothly. The Sumerians want to see if they are capable of humans, and I don't think everyone will take to him quickly after finding out what the aliens are doing. But I think Tsurugi and Yuka will accept him pretty quickly, and the main antagonist of this spinoff will be his younger brother, who will not be easy to talk to. And I like both of the designs. I think the little differences in hair design and color that help tell the difference between the twins is a nice touch. I definitely give Sukuna twin birth vibes, but I'm 100% sure this is going to go very different. Then in the first page, there's this Sumerian that looks like it's possibly their father or maybe like a general of some sort, but we won't know yet. And then there's another figure that looks like Tengen. I'm very curious about the lineage of the Sumerians and hopefully a quick synopsis of life on their planet. There's so much I want to know, but I have to keep my expectations limited because it is a short spinoff. I mean, we're talking about most likely 27 to 30 chapters, about 3 volumes worth of content. I'm interested in the invasion as far as how far we're going to get into it. 50,000 Sumerians, obviously we aren't going to fight anything close to that number or see it, but I'd like to see the battle of ideologies and possibly race involved with this conflict. Tsurugi and Yuka definitely are going to find their own way of being strong, and maybe the strongest of this generation as a tandem rather than one person that gets that title. So we're going to be ducking and dodging leaks over here, and now that John Weary isn't translating, I'm gonna just read the officials that come out every Sunday. So if you enjoy, leave a like, let me know how you feel about the chapter in the comments, and of course feel free to subscribe if you like content similar to this. Now I'll let y'all in the next one. Peace.
Yeah, Kim Jong